Spiegel im Spiegel by Beckett. When I was 22, I landed a job at a recording label in Berlin, writing descriptions of classical music tracks for deaf people. I didn't really know where to start, but then I discovered the prose of Andreas Thom, and I really found my groove. If by playing God, she'd meant abandoning my responsibilities and going into hiding, then yeah, I guess maybe I was. Racked with doubt one night, I asked science for a sign that it really existed, and the sky suddenly shook and a bolt of lightning struck the TV aerial on my roof, and the channel jumped to a documentary on the aerial bombing of naval assets during World War II. Fighter pilots read the shipwrecks like tea leaves, and then, flying home, probably as slowly as a fighter jet could, from up there in their gray cockpits, the sheep on the hillsides below looked like maggots on a gangrenous corpse. The chances are your grandparents were listening to jazz whilst they made your parents, but right now, I want you to imagine a piano whispering to a cello. I used to know this deaf girl who'd go to watch people dance at nightclubs. She said they looked like trees in a storm. I suppose the last thing I said to her doesn't really matter. And maybe I read it wrong, but in the Bible, it seemed like there were people who were healed because they believed, and then people who believed because they had been healed. Now, I'm no believer, but I kind of love the idea of everyone ending up okay. I have fucked atheists who've cried out, "Oh God," over and over, and afterward, I'd often feel so perfectly alone. The piano and the cello are so patient with one another. The night I first discovered my hands, I had a dream that every Jennifer in the world had been summoned by the newly elected president of the United Nations, and that he'd made them all line up in single file along the coast of Chile. I woke up thinking about how we've been to outer space, yet we still have no good answer to why we cannot tickle ourselves. But I guess we're forever doomed to want simple answers to complex problems and complex solutions to simple ones. Ergo, religion and politics. Ergo, war and more war. A man stood all morning on the steps of City Hall, holding a placard that read, "But what about West Korea?" I high-fived him, for no other reason than we were alive. At about 8 minutes 30, I swear, the cello begins to cry. It's been 25 years now, but I still wouldn't bet against my father's death being one of his elaborate pranks. The February I turned 7, we built a snowman out in the front yard that disappeared overnight. Months passed like minutes, and it's June as me and my brother ditch our bikes on the driveway like they're tired horses. Turns out, Dad had tipped the snowman onto a tarp that night, and somehow hauled it into the freezer in the garage. It slept like this, unknown through spring, until here it was again, smiling as it melted in the middle of the lawn. And yeah, you would totally do that. Show up for half an afternoon, and then melt like a man who was built by some dumb kids. The piano outlives the cello, but for only a second or so. I can wait.